it's Jess, and today I'm talking about The Walking Dead, because if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, then you probably already know that the Season 7 mid-season premiere is coming up here in less than 2 weeks. It may be less than 1 week by the time I post this video. Who knows? Either way, it's close from the time that I am filming this. So I decided that I would go ahead and write down some of my predictions for the second half of Season 7. If you have not read the comics and don't want any spoilers at all, then you might want to stop watching this video, but make sure you subscribe on your way out. But if you have read the comics, or if you just quite frankly don't care about anything potentially being spoiled for you from the comics, then please continue watching the video. Okay, so the first thing that I think will happen in Season 7B is that Rosita will die. Now, if you read the comics, you know that Rosita and Eugene get together, and then Rosita gets pregnant with someone else's baby, and then she gets beheaded by the Whisperers. I think she's going to die before we even get to that point. I don't think she's ever going to be with Eugene. I think she's going to die in the second half of the season while we're still dealing with Negan and the Saviors and all of that. The next thing that I think will happen in the second half of Season 7 is that Sasha will be pregnant. Now, if you watch The Talking Dead after the Season 7 premiere, Michael Cudlitz said that there would be a storyline involving Abraham, and I think one of the few ways that that's even possible is if Sasha is pregnant with Abraham's child, because that would just be crazy and intense, and then we'd have two pregnant women, which would just raise the stakes a lot more, but I think that would add a lot to the storyline, and then that might also somehow be involved with Rosita's death, because then Rosita could get jealous about Sasha being pregnant and all this stuff. But I think that Sasha will be pregnant with Abraham's child. The next thing that I think is going to happen is that Dwight and Daryl are going to become BFFs, because you can already see Dwight is having all these moments where he's wanting to be helpful and cross over and all of this stuff. And if you read the comics, then you know that that happens, and Daryl's also not in the comics, but I feel like they're very similar personalities, and so I think they'll end up getting along, and then that will help propel the storyline of Dwight turning against Negan and helping them defeat the Saviors. This is another like really far-fetched prediction that probably won't actually happen, but like in my heart I want it to happen. I think that the Hispanic family, whose name I cannot remember, from Season 1 is going to return. They're the ones that left, and they were like, we are just gonna go try and find our family members. And then my sister and I always talk about it. My sister will bring it up like once a week about how she still thinks about that family and thinks that they're gonna reappear in future episodes. And then The Walking Dead just a couple days ago tweeted something about like, oh, do you ever think about what happened to this family? So that could just be something for them to be able to tweet so that they have content and absolutely contributes nothing to the storyline of the show. But I have hope that we will somehow find out about what happened to them, or they'll somehow weasel their way back into the storyline, which is weird because they're like not even in the same area of the country as they were when they left them, but who knows. The next thing that I think will happen is that Carol will remove herself from her state of solitude that she's currently in, where she's just like, oh, leave me alone, I want to be left alone. I think she'll finally realize that she misses people, and that people need her help, and that she'll return from just shutting herself off. Also, I think that her and Ezekiel are going to end up together. If you read the comics, it's Ezekiel and Michonne, but I think it's going to be Ezekiel and Carol after Carol decides that she doesn't need to be alone and that she needs people. She's going to go to Ezekiel. They're going to be together. Daryl's going to get jealous. Daryl's going to get with Jesus, because who needs Carol when you have Jesus? The next thing I think will happen is that Heath will be alive. I don't know in what capacity we'll find him alive. I kind of feel like he might have this big heroic return where he comes back like as a big fight's happening and he saves some people, or he could somehow get kidnapped by another group and we have kind of what happened with Tara, but have our group find out about it somehow. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what will happen, but I really think that we're going to find Heath alive, especially after they did that whole thing where they made us think that he was dead, but really it was a woman. So I just think that somehow in the next few episodes we will find out that Heath is still alive and well and trying to make his way back to Alexandria. And then finally, my last prediction, which is probably very obvious, is that Negan will be overthrown by the season finale. I think they're going to stick pretty closely to the comics for this one, with him being kidnapped and kept in the little prison that Morgan built and whatnot, because I just feel like they've been sticking pretty closely to the comics thus far with Negan's story, so I think they'll still continue to do that, and I feel like that will happen by the season finale. I don't think they'll draw that out any longer. Also, this isn't like a prediction, this is just something I want to happen, but I want Rick to lose his arm, because he loses his arm in the comic, and he's just so cool when he does it, so I want him to not have an arm now. So those were all the predictions for The Walking Dead Season 7B that I could think of. I'll probably think of several more as soon as I turn my camera off. But if you have any other predictions, let me know in the comments below what you think will happen in the second half of the season. And also make sure you go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and go subscribe if you have not already. Thanks for watching and stay gold.